A lot of questions just one week in, so we've asked Attorney Andrew Radding, a past president of the Bar Association of Baltimore City, to join us. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, 1 week in, what's your take so far?
Well, there were, I think, a few surprises. They picked a jury very quickly.
Very quickly.
None of us expected that. Judge Williams had faith in the jury selection system here, and he was right. He was a good judge. We knew he was a good judge, and so far his judgment has been excellent.
But let me ask you, with a jury selection process that quick, you wonder, when you just think about looking ahead, if that would at all be part of a possible appeal. I know I'm thinking ahead here.
Anything is part of a possible appeal. The fact that they held the trial in Baltimore with people chanting under the windows, that can figure into it. Anything is part of it. If there's a conviction, anything's part of a possible appeal.
Okay, so right now we are obviously, the prosecution is still laying out its case, expected potentially to rest this week. What do you think of how they're doing so far?
Well, it's a criminal case, and in a criminal case, the crimes have to be, or guilt has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. And every witness so far has hedged. Every witness has said, maybe it was the defendant's duty to strap him in, but it was really the driver's duty. Maybe he was injured, he was not injured before being put in the van. But we all saw the videotape that's been played since April, and to all of us, it looked like he was injured. You're playing it now, and being dragged there and injured. Now, if in fact that was his way of resisting, that is going to play on the jury's mind, and I'm sure the defense is going to play that up. But in his opening, the prosecutor said he was in perfectly fine health until he was in that van.
Okay, so let me ask you this, though. The strategy for the prosecution of doing this trial first, of Porter first, what is that strategy? Well,
apparently they believe that they can use or want to use Mr. Porter, Officer Porter, to testify against one or more of the other defendants. I don't know that strategy is particularly good. If Officer Porter were to be convicted, he'd be on appeal. I don't know that he'd be willing to testify. And if he's acquitted, he could still potentially face federal charges, and he'd still have his Fifth Amendment right. So I'm not sure that that strategy plays out.
Well, we do know that he's expected to testify in his trial.
Yes.
So what do you think of that, sort of letting that cat out of the bag at the beginning about that?
Well, they may utilize his testimony at this trial against the other witnesses, and that may be the ploy they're planning to use, but it depends what questions they ask him. So it's all very uncertain, but I understand why they wanted to try Officer Porter first. I'm not sure that it actually works.
Finally, on another note, but related note, is it frustrating, or for you, obviously you were with the Bar Association for a while, but without cameras in the courtroom, there's so much that we can't see, obviously, that the public can't see. And we know the NAACP is inside as a witness to us, so they can hear it and see it themselves. But do you think that the public is at a disadvantage that they can't see this themselves?
Well, even with cameras in the courtroom, WBAL is not going to televise the entire trial 6 hours a day. You're just not going to do it. You're going to televise portions. So the public is not going to see the whole trial. They're going to see portions that the reporters think are relevant, but the jury may not. There was no trial covered more than the O.J. Simpson trial. And everybody in the world thought he was guilty, apparently, except the jury and me. I kept predicting he'd be acquitted. My class that I was teaching at the time thought I was crazy. The jury acquitted him. So you can't tell. I've often read, in trials that I've been in, I've read the press reports. The press reports certain portions of it, which I thought were irrelevant.
Well, yeah, we'll have to talk about this some more later, because it's a